Good morning. Hello and welcome everybody and happy Christmas Eve. I can't believe it's Christmas Eve already. I hope you've all been very good this year because you know who's coming tonight. I also wanted to invite you, if you haven't already, please like our Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button to choose how often you'd like to get our notifications. We do these live talks every week here at Earth and Sky, and we also try to put other content out through our Facebook page periodically as well. And we have a lot of exciting things coming for the new year. I also have some classes. I'm working on the class schedule for next year. I will be teaching at Revive Wellness Spa, which is in Flushing. It starts in mid-February for the chakra classes. I was teaching the chakra classes at Right Natural Health last year, and so if you missed any of those classes and you want to do the makeup classes, I'll be at Revive. If you want to start from the beginning with us, then please join us at Revive and watch for the event pages that we'll have for that. I also have where it's time to turn our wheel. We've been celebrating for over a year now the Wheel of the Year. And so last week we posted the Yule service from the year before, and so if you haven't already, please check that out from last week's page. And we are going to go ahead and switch this from Samhain, which is that beautiful time to honor our ancestors at the end of the year, as the wheel as I celebrate it. The end of the year is actually right here, but we have the 3 fall festivals. So you have all 3 of these, and then we come into spring, which is actually in February. And we have a couple of spring ones, and then we have the 3 summer ones. This one is actually winter. Wow, sorry. So we have the 3 falls, winter, spring, and then the summer. And so as we get into this winter time, this is where we have the longest night of the year and the shortest day of the year. We went over all of that information in our Yule service, so if you'd like more information, please check that out. And for today's service, I'm not going to keep you long because I do know it is Christmas Eve morning. And I was looking for some inspiration as I was talking to JJ about what I was going to talk about today, because there have been a lot of heavy things this year. There have been a lot of really heavy topics out in the news and in our world and, you know, all over the place. And so it's a little hard sometimes to find inspiration when you feel weighed down by all of these heavy topics and that heaviness that I think is within a lot of people right now. I see a lot of people this year rushing so much to get all of the Christmas stuff done, and it feels like, because this is a 1 year numerologically, that it feels like everybody has had all these new beginnings and this overload and overwhelm of things to do this year. And even if you're not doing a lot of different things, it may feel like you're kind of spinning your wheels, trying to get traction, kind of starting to get your life in a new direction or building something new in your life. And so a lot of that's been culminating into this final month of the year. Last year at this time, there had been a lot of deaths. I had noticed a lot of people were grieving because of people that they lost, which is very typical in a 9 year. A 9 planetary year tends to bring that. And so this year, it's that hectic, chaotic. A lot of people aren't really present in the moment right now. It seems a lot of people are running their lists in their head and trying to get everything done or get everybody everywhere they need to be. And they're not just taking time to be calm and present in the present moment. I do suspect some good news on the horizon that next year should be a really good holiday season for a lot more people because it's a planetary 2 year. So 9 years tend to be really challenging emotionally. 1 years tend to be very challenging and physically taxing. And then 2 years are where we have that marriage of people coming together, bonding, connection, harmony, peacemaking. All of those tend to happen in a planetary 2 year, which is thankfully what we're going into in January. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that time coming. And so as I was preparing for this service, I was trying to figure out what to talk about that wasn't too heavy. JJ laughed at a couple of my ideas and said, you need to go lighter. And it's good. It's Christmas Eve. I hope everybody's really happy today. And so I turned to this book to get some inspiration. It's called Stories Behind the Best Loved Songs of Christmas. And somebody had given me this book, and it's just, it seems like such a wonderful book. I've been looking forward to reading it. And it was fascinating when I was starting to prepare for this service. I just turned it randomly to a spot in the middle. I had debated looking up a certain song that I loved, and I thought, no, let's see where Spirit leads me. And so I just asked Spirit to guide me as I opened the page, and it was exactly what I was trying to come up with. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this story and paraphrase some of it as we go into our discussion. And the song is "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear." In 1849, a Unitarian minister from Wayland, Massachusetts, was writing a Christmas Eve message for his congregation. I was like, oh, okay, let's see where this goes. So as Dr. Edmund Sears worked on his sermon, he was a troubled man. Though it was going to be another decade before the Civil War tore through the United States and tore it apart, the debate over slavery, compounded by poverty that he saw in his community, had all but broken his spirit. He desperately searched for words to inspire his congregation, but he was really having a hard time lifting his own spirit up above the depressing scenes that surround him. And he had believed that everybody should be involved in reaching out to the lost, to the helpless, and the poor. And it seemed like with the way our culture was going, there was so much of people being into themselves and feeling that they were right. Whatever their stance was, they felt like they were in the right for it, and they were fighting for what their opinion was instead of looking out and trying to have compassion and seeing and how can they help other people. In his community, Sears was a force of caring in a world that seemed to concern itself very little with the traumas of the hungry or the sick. His burden for the helpless had forced him to reach out and to help those that Christ had called the least of these. As Sears struggled, he thumbed through his well-worn Bible and found in the 2nd chapter of Luke that he was touched by the 8th and 9th verses. And there were shepherds living out in their fields, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. And so that will definitely work quite a bit into that song. But even that statement is interesting into itself, too. And I thought several things when I was reading that. So one was, why would people be terrified when they see an angel, for one? And I think, and the first thing that came into mind isn't what you typically hear for that fear. Typically you hear, they're so brilliant and their radiance is so bright and people are, not apt to expect to see them, and all of those things create the fear. But the first thought that I had was people possibly realizing where they have been really not in the right with things, and where they haven't been as compassionate as they should be possibly, or they haven't had that reaching out as we know we all should do, and that Christmas spirit, which is reaching out, helping those around you, having compassion, being around, taking care of other people, and so it just was an interesting thought with that. And so he picked up his pen and wrote down the 5-verse poem that's called "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear." Today, Sears' poem, which has now been turned into a carol, is considered very joyous and uplifting. Yet you can imagine when he first delivered it, the audience probably saw it as a lot more of a charge and a challenge to take on doing what he talks about in the song. He wanted to really grab a hold of them and inspire them to reach out to help the poor and to address the nation's social ills and to consider what they could do as individuals to best reflect the spirit of the season in their daily lives all the time. And so the song, in case you don't remember all of it, a lot of the song hasn't been really passed down. It's that first verse we hear most of the time. So it came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. And then it goes into peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. And whether you see Jesus as a savior or just as a prophet or simply a healer that people wrote about and talked about a lot, however you see him as a figure, you can see that symbolism as being a way to inspire us in how we live each day, taking some of those teachings that he said about being good to each other giving away, even if it's the last of what you have, sometimes giving that to help somebody who's less fortunate than you. And still through cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er the weary world. Above its sad and lowly plains they bend on hovering wing, and o'er its babel sounds they bless the blessed angels sing. And it's such beautiful imagery, I think, when he writes this too, thinking about this beautiful angel coming down and seeing and feeling compassion for what's going on and seeing you. And I think for a lot of people that are struggling, just being able to feel like you have somebody there in your corner, knowing that you have those angels. And I feel like those angels are surrounding our planet a lot right now. We have so much division in our world, and it seems like at the holidays it would be nice to see more coming together. And I feel like I just want to see a lot more that I'm seeing of people coming together, people putting certain issues aside and realizing that we're all one as far as our spirit of people on this planet, everybody, just being able to see that that soul and that spirit when you're talking to somebody else, realizing that they're just like you, whether it's somebody that's homeless or whether it's somebody that's in a mansion, or whether it's it's a color issue, which I just don't get, or whether it's all of the political issues. There's so many political issues, and people are starting to not see each other as people. They're starting to kind of demonize the other side. Whoever has a different view, we're not relating to them as even having the good nature of being people in them. And so really learning to put all of that aside this season would be a wonderful thing. And then his song continues to go on. And yea, beneath the life's crushing load, whose forms are bending low, who toil along the climbing way with painful steps and slow, look now for glad and golden hours, come swiftly on the wing, O rest beside the weary road, and hear the angels sing. And I love that verse too, because it talks about just being able to take that time and rest, knowing that if you feel like you have a lot of burdens on you, just allowing that load to rest, taking time out to just rest and relax and letting go of that stress, which really brings back to being in the present moment. I think it's so important to be in the present moment, and when you're in that moment, then you can feel that empoweredness within yourself, knowing that you have everything that you need within you, and that you're in the present moment to embrace it. And when you're in that moment, you can let that load go off your back because you're not carrying it. It's around you. You may see, this is something I need to do, or this is where I'm going to put my focus, but you're not holding it on your shoulders as you're trying to go forward in life. Instead, being in the present moment, you'll be able to just set that load down, see what's around you, and move forward. And then just knowing that it's okay to rest, and that you have love in your corner, you have angels in your corner, you have the whole source of the divine love surrounds you and fills you, and it's right there. You just need to open your eyes and open your heart to see it. And then the last verse he has, for lo, the days are hastening on, by prophets seen of old, when with their ever circling years shall come the time foretold, when the new heaven and earth shall own the Prince of Peace their King, and the whole world send back the song which now the angels sing. And so I think that I just see this as such a time where, because I'm more about taking responsibility on for ourselves instead of seeing something as somebody else being a savior, or being able to pledge your allegiance to somebody, and then I feel like that gives your power away a little. But instead, if you see that the divine is within you, the divine is who you are, and then you just allow that to radiate and to motivate you to be the best person that you can be. If you recognize that you are the divine within yourself, that spirit, that you're connected to the prophets and the healers and everybody who may inspire you, that's who you are inside. You're connected, you're one and the same. And so use that energy to motivate you to live the best life that you can. How can you spread that Christmas joy? How can you spread the spirit and the meaning of the season to other people? How can you live your life, not even just in this season, but all the time, spreading that Christmas spirit, because that spirit of the Christmas is something we all love. I think, when you see the wonder and the joy and the delight in children's eyes when they see Christmas coming and they see all the things that make them excited, how can you get that back for yourself, and how can you inspire others to have that as well? And I think it all starts with compassion, having honesty, living your life with integrity, and just opening your eyes to where you can be a little kinder to people too, and where you can be kinder to animals, and seeing that kindness when it comes to you too, because it really goes both ways. So often people will be given something, or somebody's offering to do something for you, and you might say, no, I can handle it myself, and really it would be a nice thing to receive that help, and to know that you're worthy of receiving too, and to see that both ways. See where you can bless other people, and when others are blessing you, accept it with graciousness and gratitude. And I hope that helps you a little bit, and with your Christmas Eve morning start. And I hope that you can carry that spirit of the season, because it is such a beautiful, beautiful time of year. And just bringing that life and that joy and that light through your hearts throughout the rest of this year. And we will see you before New Year's, but I hope you have a fantastic Christmas and enjoy this beautiful Yuletide season. Please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you, and have a great day.